It's precisely 1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Romesh Piris and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The President highlights the need of a new foreign policy to enable Sri Lanka to forge broader foreign relations while safeguarding its sovereignty. Another consignment of coal reaches Sri Lanka. Sri Dalada Maligawa to organize a Jana Rajaperehara to mark the 75th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. The Transport Ministry plans to add 500 new buses to service this year. 3 containers of oranges not cleared from the port distributed to hospitals. A Gazette notification issued restricting import of gold above 22 carats as jewelry. An 18-hour water cut during the weekend for multiple areas in Colombo. International news, Ukraine's president says Putin's 36-hour truce is a tactical ploy. Sports, cricket, Sri Lanka wins thriller in Pune, level T20 International Series at 1-all. Local news in detail now. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has highlighted the need for the drafting of a new foreign policy which would enable Sri Lanka to forge broader relations while safeguarding its sovereignty. During a meeting with the 10 newly appointed Sri Lankan ambassadors and a High Commissioner, President Wickremesinghe stressed the need of a good foreign service which will be able to forge broader relations with many countries while safeguarding the sovereignty of Sri Lanka. The diplomats paid a courtesy call on the President at the Presidential Secretariat prior to leaving for their missions yesterday. Accordingly, the head of state emphasized that the most important objective currently is for the relevant diplomats to build contacts within their respective countries and to safeguard the rights of Sri Lankans overseas. The chairman of the Ceylon Coal Company, Shehan Sumansinghe, announced that a vessel carrying a consignment of coal has reached Puttalam. According to the chairman of the Ceylon Coal Company, the consignment consists of 60,000 metric tons of coal. Meanwhile, the Ceylon Electricity Board stated that this is the 6th shipment of coal to arrive in Sri Lanka. Sri Dalada Maligawa has decided to organize a Jana Rajaperehara to mark the 75th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. It will be held on February 18th. Diyawadananilame Nilangadala said special processions are to be organized on the request of the government to mark significant events of national importance. He said that Jana Rajaperehara on February 18th, with the participation of several elephants bearing the Jana Raja emblem, would parade the streets in Kandy town. Diyawadananilame Nilangadala noted for the first time, a Jana Rajaperehara has been held in 1972 when Sri Lanka became a republic during the time of Prime Minister Sirimao Bandaranaike. He further said that special occasions and processions had been held on the day of the opening of the Golden Canopy in Sri Dalada Maligawa to mark the victory of the Northeast War. Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripala de Silva, has decided to distribute 3 containers of yellow oranges that were imported but not released from the port to the hospitals. Accordingly, these oranges will be distributed to Colombo National Hospital, Lady Ridgeway Children's Hospital and Maharagama Apeksha Cancer Hospital as well as around 60 provincial hospitals. There were more than 24,000 kilograms of oranges in 1 container of oranges. 2 such containers unloaded at Jaya Container Terminal belonging to the Sri Lanka Ports Authority were handed over to the Ministry of Health. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. Continuing with more stories here at home. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved power cuts of 2 hours and 20 minutes from the 7th to the 9th of January 2023. The PUCSL stated that the power cuts will be enforced for groups A to L and P to W during this period. A 1-hour power cut will be implemented during the daytime and a power cut of 1 hour and 20 minutes will be enforced at night. An 18-hour water cut will be in effect from Saturday the 7th of January night for multiple areas in Colombo. The water cut will be in effect from 10 p.m. tomorrow to 4 p.m. on Sunday the 8th of January. The areas that will be affected are Colombo 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 10 and 11. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Dr. Bandula Gunawardena, Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, said 500 new buses will be put into operation for public transport this year. The minister made this disclosure while speaking at an event held at Battaramulla Japanese Friendship Park on Thursday to distribute 75 new buses received by the country under the Indian Loan Scheme to depots across the island. Speaking at this year's distribution program, Minister Gunawardena said 75 modern buses manufactured to suit the condition of roads in rural areas will join the transport system.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
On Watchlight, a special gazette has been issued restricting the import of gold above 22 carats as jewellery. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Singh Belapitiya said that special gazette number 2312/77 has been issued in this regard. He further said that the import restriction has been placed in a bid to prevent gold smuggling. That's on Watchlight. Moving on to world news headlines. Ukraine's President Zelensky says Putin's 36-hour truce is a tactical ploy. Deadly riots grip Mexican state after arrest of El Chapo's son. Prince Harry makes series of sensational claims in new memoir. Moving on to world news in detail. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has rejected out of hand a Russian order for a truce over the Orthodox Christmas period, saying the proposed ceasefire is a trick to halt the Ukraine army's progress in the eastern Donbas region and allow Moscow to bring in more troops. Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a 36-hour ceasefire which will run from midday Friday until the end of Saturday after a call for a Christmas truce by the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill of Moscow. 3 security force members have died in clashes in the state of Sinaloa after the arrest of a son of notorious Mexican drug kingpin El Chapo, Ovidio Guzman Lopez, himself alleged to be a leader of his father's former cartel, was captured in Culician and transferred to Mexico City. Furious gang members set up roadblocks, set fire to vehicles and attacked a local airport. 2 planes were hit by gunfire, one while preparing to take off. More than 100 flights were cancelled at 3 Sinaloa airports. Finally on world news, a stream of sensational claims and accusations from Prince Harry's autobiography Spare had been leaked. The book outlines grievances and bitterness in the royal family, such as a claim he and Prince William urged their father not to marry Camilla. But one of the most striking claims for Harry, first reported by the Guardian newspaper, was how he was physically attacked by his brother. Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace have both said they will not comment. Further allegations from the book have been made public since the Guardian's first article. That's on World News.
Development News.
The Embassy of Sri Lanka in Washington, D.C., in association with the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Agency, has managed to secure a confirmed job order for 550 employment opportunities in the United States of America. Ambassador Mahinda Samarasinghe had reached out to Messrs. Karma Services LLC of Florida and facilitated had facilitated an agreement between Karma Services and the SLFEA, which has resulted in an order for 250 registered nurses, 100 laboratory technicians and 200 nursing assistants to gain employment in the United States. SLFEA is a wholly state-owned subsidiary of the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment and will carry out the recruitment process locally. Moving on to sports news, Surya Kumar Yadav and Aksa Patel's valiant effort went in vain as Sri Lanka defeated India by 16 runs in the second T20 International in Pune. With this outcome, the three-match series is now squared at 1-1. Chasing 207, India got off to a dreadful start, losing the top order inside the power play overs. Surya Kumar and Aksa Patel then stitched a 90-plus stunt before Surya Kumar was dismissed for 51. Aksar was dismissed for 65 in the final over. Earlier, Kusal Mendis and Dasun Shanaka smashed 50 each to drive Sri Lanka to a staggering total in 20 overs. Meanwhile, in other cricket news, rain might have thwarted Usman Khawaja's bid for a maiden test double century, while Australia's push for a series sweep over South Africa has been made harder after Day 3 was washed out at the SCG. Khawaja remains stuck on his biggest test score of 195, while Matt Renshaw is 5 not out in his first test match since 2018, having tested positive for COVID-19 before play on Day 1. Heavy downpours lashed Sydney and negated any chance of play to continue a run of rain-affected matches at the traditional SCG New Year's test. That's on Sports News.
Let us turn this difficult time that we are facing now to a positive opportunity. We must rise up as a nation in 2023. NSB will extend its fullest support for you to rise with confidence. NSB, the safest place for you.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Facets Sri Lanka exhibition, which drives Sri Lanka's gem and jewellery brand to the world, will be held from January 7th to the 9th, 2023 at Atrium Lobby, Cinnamon Grand Hotel, Colombo. This time the exhibition is being organised in a grand manner, attracting numerous stakeholders that range from high-profile trade buyers to gemstone and jewellery importers, wholesalers, manufacturers, retailers and collectors, representing private interest as well as leading corporations from around the world. The Facets Sri Lanka exhibition is organised by the Sri Lanka Gems and Jewellery Association in partnership with the National Gems and Jewellery Authority and Sri Lanka Export Development Board.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank.
Let us turn this difficult time that we are facing now to a positive opportunity. We must rise up as a nation in 2023. NSB will extend its fullest support for you to rise with confidence. NSB, the safest place for you.
And on economic news, the Treasury bill yields continued their weeks-long descent to usher in the new year at the first weekly bill auction for 2023, while the central bank also sold the entirety of bills it offered, extending the recent trend of full acceptance. The Public Debt Department of the Central Bank sold 98 billion rupees in bills across the 3 tenures, 60 billion rupees under 3-month bills, 20 billion rupees under 6-month bills, and 18 billion rupees under 12-month bills, matching the level of acceptance under the 3 tenures respectively. Meanwhile, the Central Bank Monetary Board has extended the suspension imposed on Perpetual Treasuries Limited from carrying on the businesses and activities of a primary dealer for a further period of 6 months today, so as to continue the investigations being conducted by the CBSL. The CBSL said it has taken this decision in terms of the regulations made under the Registered Stock and Securities Ordinance and the Local Treasury Bills Ordinance, and that's on economic news.
Weather report.
The Meteorological Department forecast showers or thunder showers to occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern, Uva and central provinces. Fairly heavy showers about 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in the Trincomalee, Mullaitivu and Polonnaruwa districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere during the afternoon and night. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamu province and in the Kalutara and Galle districts. That's the weather update for you. And before we wind up the bulletin of news, back to the headlines. The President highlights the need of a new foreign policy to enable Sri Lanka to forge broader foreign relations while safeguarding its sovereignty. Another consignment of coal reaches Sri Lanka. Sri Dalada Maligawa to organise Janu Raja Perahera to mark the 75th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. The Transport Ministry plans to add 500 new buses to service this year. 3 containers of oranges not cleared from the port distributed to hospitals. A Gazette notification issued restricting import of gold above 22 carats as jewellery. An 18-hour water cut during the weekend for multiple areas in Colombo. International news: Ukraine's president says Putin's 36-hour truce is a tactical ploy. Sports: cricket. Sri Lanka wins thriller in Pune, level T20 international series at 1-all. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news.